On Monday, Donald Trump's lawyers submitted their filing with the U.S. Supreme Court asking them to do two things. One, put a stay on the decision from the D.C. Appellate Court that had effectively immediately remanded the case back to the trial court so they could proceed. So they're asking him, get rid of that, him, talking about SCOTUS, I accidentally said him and meant them. But anyway, they're saying, SCOTUS, don't let that trial proceed just yet, and take up the case of immunity. But they add, take your time, right? I mean, we don't need to do anything rash here. Obviously, this is a pretty big decision. So, this needs some careful thought and consideration because, of course, Donald Trump's lawyers are trying to delay. And this time it may not work so well for them. Here's the thing. The appellate court that, again, last week had ruled that Donald Trump does not have immunity. He is effectively citizen Trump. They kind of covered all their bases, according to the legal experts, with their decision. They almost made it appeal-proof, which was not just to dismantle every legal argument that Trump's lawyers put forward. They did, of course, do that. But the big thing was the fact that they gave the Supreme Court an out. And that out is the Supreme Court saying, listen, we've seen the appellate court's decision. Based on their reasoning, we find no reason to take up the case. So that's a good out for the Supreme Court to keep their hands clean on this matter. Because if the Supreme Court decides to weigh in on this, it's going to get messy for them no matter which way they decide. But they do have several options here. Obviously, the first one that I mentioned, they can say, nope, lower court got it right. We're not going to touch it. That decision stands. See you later. You don't have immunity. Second thing is they can take it up. And from there, we have multiple different options. And I think one of the most likely ones, and this is actually one that I haven't discussed before, I think part of what they may do is kind of dismantle piece by piece and possibly give him immunity on some issues and not on the others. Here's what I mean by that. We, of course, have the conspiracy against the United States charges that Trump is facing in the January 6th trial. Now, that, of course, is the fake elector scheme. The fake elector scheme, the lawyers that were being paid, they went state by state trying to get these things set up. They were being paid from Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Therefore, that fact alone, that it was paid for by the campaign, shows that it was not the actions of a president, it was the actions of a candidate. Therefore, he's not entitled to immunity there. I could see the court doing that. And then anything related to the Capitol riot itself, they could argue, well, he gave a speech, presidents give speeches, that was a presidential act, so he has immunity there. So they could kind of do a 50-50. Like, he's immune from these charges, he's not immune from these because he was a candidate. So that's one option. Then obviously they could say, nope, he's got total immunity, or they could say he has no immunity because he was acting as a candidate. So they can do this one of many ways, but I think the thing that they would love to do is to not take it up at all. That is my thinking here. And I do think that they will rule on the Colorado case saying you can't kick Trump off the ballot. And they know they're going to get huge backlash for that. So to compensate, I think they're going to not give him immunity. So I don't know. That's just my theory. We'll see how it plays out. But based on the legal arguments that Trump's lawyers have put forward, they don't have a case. I mean, listen to this. Without immunity from criminal prosecution, the presidency as we know it will cease to exist. They said that it will begin destructive cycles of recrimination, will hang like a millstone around every future president's neck, and immediately irreparable injury to the First Amendment interest of Trump. Yada, yada, yada. Not legal arguments. So they don't have a case. They know they don't have a case, but they're throwing everything at the wall with this filing. They lost badly at the appellate court, and I think the Supreme Court should do the smart thing, not issue a ruling on it at all, and stick with the lower court's decision. Keep your hands clean. You're not taking one side or the other. That's the smartest route for the Supreme Court. Well, folks, we have crossed that 1 million subscriber milestone, but rest assured, we are just getting started here at Ring of Fire. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel and make sure to like, share, and comment on the videos.